Morning. Just a instructor note. This will be the last class of the week. Going on vacation tomorrow morning, taking the kids on the train to Chicago. So this is going to be the last class of the week. So we better make it a good one. Well, kind of going through the markets and what's all transpired overnight. We still have a lot of sideways action in the euro, sideways action in the Swiss. I was up last night. Here, let me actually put this on a different, riding the rails, that's right. Let me put this over here and change this to dollar Swiss. I was in on this one last night. It's not too often that I'm up in the middle of the night, but I was up in the middle of the night last night. Had a couple of different trade opportunities. One of them that we had been looking for yesterday was right here on dollar Swiss because of all the consolidation, the speculation being that if we could make a sustained break above this trend line and above the 9,600 level, was one of my trades from yesterday. We got a close above 9,600, a close above the trend line right in through here. At the time that it was closing, it was going to a +5, and it's very subtle. It was starting to come up a bit here and make some higher highs, if you will, but it quickly has turned down. So my suggestion would be, if you're not in that trade, then kind of stay away from it for right now. It's not that it's a loser right now. I have it in as a 1-to-1 risk reward. However, it's dipped down below now. It's about 20 pips away from stopping me out. If you can still follow that strategy, but what the primary suggestion would be to wait for it to break up back above this high, like right up in here. That would still leave you a lot of room to go if you want to follow that strategy. Everything's kind of turning negative now, but you'd put your stop right below this swing low and then look for a 1-to-1 risk reward. I'm not going to put that on the strategy list for today, but for those of you that were following along, that's one of them that we are looking out for, but not as all bad in the land of Forex here this morning. At the same time, we did get us right here. We'd been looking for momentum sell trades on the pound. The pound is by far one of the weaker currencies, long-term, medium-term, short-term. Every time that it hiccups a little bit or tries to come back, it's consistently making lower lows. Right in here, the pound actually consolidated overnight and broke out on the London momentum system. We were just basically looking for any type of breakdown on the pound should it consolidate. Here's where we were in class yesterday, and you can see the tight consolidation. The pound never made any type of retracement. It just kind of sidled out a little bit and then broke down once again, and everything is still kind of indicating more downward pressure on the pound here. Much like we've done in the past, we don't really, it's already made a substantial move overnight. We don't want to get too crazy, and just like yesterday, the move stalled, and pretty much after the London move came down, the move stalled out and went sideways. This would be another situation where you'd want to look for, any type of retracements to occur. I can show you this right in here. Looking at this intraday downward spiral that we've gotten in the pound right in through here, you still like the idea of selling the pound versus the dollar. You would just want to wait for some type of retracement. You'd want to wait for the same thing we waited for yesterday. Wait for some type of consolidation to occur, and wait for be patient for the consolidation to occur, and then jump in once you get once the trade breaks down lower, or look for any type of retracements or consolidation. So kind of going with the same theme from yesterday, we'll still look for any type of retracements back up to the 78.6 level. So we look for any type of bar or candle to come up to the 78.6 level and retrace back into here. I'm not too worried about like the 4100 level or whatnot. Put your stop right above the high, 1.41719. And then depending on, you can do limit 1 or limit 1 and 2, but I'll just put a limit of 1 to 1.5 risk reward that you should be able to meet if it comes up to those levels. So selling into retracements on the pound, always a good idea. Well, it's been a good idea for the last several weeks. That's worked out very well for us. And then, I'm not going to put this on a trading sheet, but then, when we say trade momentum and retracements on the pound, if this move does stall, look for any type of consolidation to occur. If you get any type of long-term consolidation, look for breakouts to the downside on the pound. So like this consolidation occurred overnight, and then we got a break down below right in through here. It's always a slippery slope when something's already moved so much to go looking for trades. So we don't want to get too aggressive, if you will. So we're still looking at trend, counter trend strategies. Our trade from the pound from Monday actually worked out very well. Trade on the pound from yesterday, looking for sell trades, worked out very well. So, and the pound just continues to get pounded. So London momentum essentially being, if you see it consolidating as we get on through the day, think in terms of momentum and consolidation. Momentum is essentially if you start to see some type of, momentum and retracements. Not talking too well today. So momentum and retracements. You're looking for any type of consolidation to occur and breakdowns from that consolidation level, and any type of retracement to occur for potential sell trades on the pound. Let's see what's happening with that dollar Swiss right in through here. I went long on that because it was part of the strategy where it closed above the 9,600. Thought I may have had a shot on that. We'll see. That's not a very good trading method right now. It's pulled back a bit, but you can see everything. Everything was starting to kind of go up right in through here. We did kind of break into a high when it started coming in and making an upward move. I think there's other potential candidates, better potential candidates for trades today. I didn't even talk about the global markets yet. I apologize. You can see that markets are really mixed here this morning. The U.S. futures are up just a little bit. Yesterday, everything was really volatile. We had a lot of bearish moves in the global markets. Some of the European markets were down like over 2%. Asia was down. Today it's more of a mixed bag. Global markets are really mixed. Nikkei's down slightly. Hong Kong's up slightly. Shanghai's down slightly. In Europe, same thing. You got FTSE is up a little bit. DAX is down a little bit. The CAC is up a little bit. So, we're getting, unlike the volatility that we saw in the underlying markets yesterday, not getting a huge amount of volatility today. I actually meant to pull up dollar CAD because we did have a successful trade yesterday on dollar CAD. I'll show that to you here in just a second. I just wanted to show you that oil is also up 2% today. Let me pull up dollar CAD. This is an interesting one. I didn't reach full profit on dollar CAD yesterday. Overnight, when it got down, it started I kept on kind of trailing the stop down using a 3-bar reversal because it did reach like 50% of our profitability level. So as I started continuously trailing the stop down, I believe it was right in here I got stopped out when it kind of reversed course. The CAD still looks like a good candidate. Dollar CAD has come up a bit, and CAD really hasn't appreciated based on the rising oil prices as of yet. When you look at it long term, there we go. This is still a good candidate for selling into dollar weakness, Canadian strength, especially with oil prices being down. Even with this retracement that it made, it still hasn't. It started coming down yesterday, but you can see the LP trend line sold off. Overall, it's still making very subtle lower highs and lower lows. When you look at it kind of long term, it's still kind of in the bottom part of its range. It's still showing quite a bit of selling pressure there on the dollar Canadian. And it's got this really nice little trend line here coming up to the upside, which makes it a good candidate for selling on that trend line break. Go ahead and put it down below this low. Whoops. Almost, there we go. That's the low I wanted. I kind of call this poking its nose through the fence line a little bit here. I'm going to put close below the trend line because you'd want to see it close. So you'd want to see a pretty strong candle close below that trend line. And it's already gone +5. You can actually, if it closes beneath the trend line, you could just look for a negative on the 1 hour total since it's already gone +5. To be safe, you'd probably want to wait for this, to make sure that it is in fact going red here on the LP trend line and breaking through a low. It happened very subtly it was very subtle. It happened on the dollar Swiss overnight, just didn't quite, it didn't quite make the big candle break that I was looking for. The stop, I would just put, anywhere on these highs right up in here. You put the stop 1 pip above the swing high. This is actually, I apologize, since it already came down and touched the trend line, this most recent candle would actually be the swing high. Came down, here's the bounce, came down, here's the highest bounce. So you could actually put it right up above that candle, but you are going to look for a close. I would certainly wait for a close beneath that level. And a limit on here, I'm gonna put in 1 to 1.5 risk reward once again, just like I did yesterday. It reached 50% of our we were up about 35 pips, I believe, on that dollar CAD at one point. So that's when I started kind of trailing the stop down. We were looking for it just to reverse course right in through here. It kind of came down and closed and broke. It went up above the 78.6. It's still hovering at that 78.6 level. And then we got in, this is where I got in right after the clash yesterday. So we were able to reach the halfway point on a 1 to 1.5. And then as it consolidated on through the day, got stopped out. But, it's a good thing to do is, once it reaches 50% of your take profit level, so if you're doing a 1 to 1.5, and let's say you're risking 40 pips to make, let's say 60, be on the lookout for trailing that stop up as it, or trailing that stop down as it comes down. I think the thing that you have working in your favor on that is the fact that oil is up over 2% today. So we are getting a little bit of a rally in oil prices. So I think that would help that trade if at some point the dollar CAD does follow along with those oil prices. All right, just kind of giving everything kind of a sneak peek right in through here. There we go. All right, so let's go. Switch gears here to dollar yen. Yesterday on the daily chart, if you were to look at the daily chart on the yen, it broke down right in through here on the daily chart. It broke down into new lows. The thing that's kind of interesting on dollar yen is the fact that even with this move today, where it's kind of making this little bit of a move back down to the 110 level essentially, you're getting a little bit of a divergence. All through this downward move, we were getting a little bit of a divergence. You see how the dollar yen was coming down and the LP trend line was subtly making, it's still very subtle, but still making higher highs and higher lows. The yen has been one of the strongest currencies because of the kind of the sell-offs we've experienced here since the beginning of the month. From a global market perspective, I like trading on that dollar CAD as kind of more of a dollar week trade, especially with oil prices being up. Yesterday we were discussing, you see this is where it's kind of broken down here on the daily charts. You can really look to trade the yen in either direction today. You know, it's formed this trend line right in through here. And then, you know, it obviously, you know, it had this consolidation overnight that it's breaking down, but the real support level on here has been like the 110 level right down in here. You can see that 110 is where it came down and just kind of halted at that 110 level. So we're not going to totally go to more being bearish on the dollar yen right now, but you know, if we were to see some type of reversal on the yen, you can potentially trade it really in either direction. And again, you know, it's about 920 right now. So you can look for it really on either side. If you wanted to kind of make things easier, you can trade either dollar strength or weakness on the yen today, because it really hasn't moved all that much since yesterday. You know, it's been tightly consolidated in through here. So a buy entry, notice how I'm putting close above the trend line. Since it's already -5 or less, you can just look for a positive, you know, for the 1 hour totals to go green. For a sell entry, I would look for a close beneath the 110 level and a -5 on the 1 hour T's. Here, let me just kind of expand this a little bit, bring this down a bit. And then as far as the stops, if it breaks above the trend line, There we go. Put that over in here. So your stop, if you get a sell entry, you would just want to put it, in this case, right up above this swing high. That would be your sell stop. If it's a buy stop, you'd want to put it right below wherever the swing low is. If you get a buy entry, just put it right below the swing low. And with the tight amount of consolidation, this is another one where you can look for a limit of 1 to 1.5 risk reward. So, I mean, this could definitely make your life easier today just by looking at just one pair to trade. But essentially all you're looking for is a consolidation breakout there on the yen. There we go. So just looking at all the dollar pairs right in through here, seeing what's shaking out. Here's our yen. These are starting to break down just a teensy-weensy bit. Let's check out and see what the euro's doing. Yeah, euro's coming up. Swiss is coming down. Yeah, certainly that's one that's looking more and more like I'm gonna get the shaft on that one. All right. Sometimes we get the elevator, sometimes we get the shaft. All right. There was one other thing that we need to kind of discuss today before I hang my hat up for vacation. We could potentially see a lot of volatility surrounding these FOMC meeting minutes coming out today at 2 p.m. No matter which direction you have on the dollar, the market's going to be looking for, with the FOMC meeting minutes, they're essentially going to be looking for, we already know the Fed was dovish in the FOMC announcement, in the previous FOMC announcement, and Yellen kind of confirmed that also. So the statement that was released by the FOMC, the interest rate announcement, we already know that it was a dovish statement, if you will. So the market has kind of already priced that into the FOMC meeting minutes. What the market's going to be anticipating or looking for in those FOMC meeting in the meeting minutes that are released at 2 p.m. Market will look for signs so even though they released a more dovish, statement in the last FOMC announcement, the market's essentially going to say, were they really that dovish? Is that just something to where they kind of, they had kind of just a small majority that wanted to release the statement as is, and maybe the hawks in the Fed were a little bit more, just got kind of, voted out, if you will, or voted against. So when they look at the FOMC meeting minutes, that's what they're going to look for. They already know it was dovish. They're going to look for any signs of hawkishness in the meeting details, to where, all right, we already know what they released, but let's see what the overall majority of the members thought during that time. You can expect high volatility at 2 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. So whenever you expect high volatility, which could include like the dollar, just kind of whipsawing back and forth. So if we're going to expect high volatility at 2 p.m. Eastern Time, this is all based on what your thoughts are, based on your own personal preference. However, I'm just going to write this out, and I know you don't like it when I do this. You might want to consider closing open trades the USD could whipsaw the market. So that's certainly something you'd want to keep an eye out for. Even if you're in a cross pair, I still think that the volatility could be really high with the dollar, and the dollar could drive things in a pretty nasty fashion after those minutes are released. So that's just something to keep in mind when it comes to those details, or those minutes, if you will. So looking through here, I don't think there's what I would, I'm going to be gone on Thursday and Friday. The same things still apply. If you want to look for something that's probably given us the best probability, it's been here on the pound of looking, on Thursday and Friday, looking for sell trades on the pound throughout the week. Look for it to retrace, look for any type of consolidation like this, look for trend lines to form, look for retracements such as this one that we traded on Monday, look for these types of consolidation levels to form, and look for breakouts below. All of those could give you a pretty good probability as far as the pound goes. So if you're looking for strategies going into Thursday and Friday, just think in terms, I should say, of trading momentum and retracements on the pound. And that would probably be your best bet, because the pound has been, it's been the dog of the market. There's no doubt about that. Markets are just now opening up here in the U.S. You got the NASDAQ's up 10, Dow's up like 16, S&P's up 2. Getting a large dollar sell-off here. Probably the closest one as far as our trades go for right now to execution is probably here on dollar Canadian. That one's still looking pretty good, especially because oil prices are holding up pretty well right now. So that's looking good. And the yen is also very close to execution. Looks like we're getting a pretty broad-based sell-off here this morning. So we got that working. It's broad-based sell-off on the dollar, I should say. You got Aussie coming up. New Zealand's getting stronger. CAD's starting to get stronger versus the dollar. Swiss is stronger. Euro's stronger. Pound strengthening. Yen strengthening. So it looks like dollar bears are kind of ruling the roost here this morning. I would say just be extremely careful on what you put in. Meaning make sure you manage your risk. whenever you see these big moves and there's not really a whole lot of volatility in the underlying higher yielding assets, oftentimes that's not a very good sign. So I'm going to go ahead here and I'll save the trading sheet for today. I'll go ahead and share that under the handouts. There we go. All right, that's about all I have for today. This is right when I log out here, I'll be officially starting my vacation. So I will chat at most of you next Monday morning, and a new week will begin. So anywho, have a great weekend, everybody. And like I said, out of all the strategies that we do, trading with the trend is never a bad idea. So the pound is certainly the dog of the market right there. So if that's about all the advice I could give you, for the rest of the week, is looking for that momentum and retracement scenario on the pound. But until then, I will chat at everybody later. Thanks for coming in, and I will see you bright and early on Monday morning. Bye-bye, everybody.